Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan, and today we continue our fourth year of the Clone Wars coverage. And so far it's been one epic, massive, important event after another. In our last episode, we took a look at the Jedi Temple bombing and the framing of Ahsoka Tano, and in the episode before that, we saw the fall of Mandalore and the tragic death of Duchess Satine Kryze. Today's story is no less important and could have potentially had huge consequences had things gone a little bit differently. Today we'll be looking at the events surrounding the execution of Jedi General Tiplar. Clone Trooper TUP CT-5385 was on the fast track for success within the Grand Army of the Republic. Some might say he was even ARC Trooper material. We first see him serve with the 501st under the command of Captain Rex during the disastrous Battle of Umbara. TUP not only survived the horrid conditions of this campaign, he also played a very positive role in helping his unit survive. During that battle, Clone Trooper TUP would grow close to ARC Trooper 5s, who served as sort of a mentor for this younger rookie. You can recognize TUP by the little teardrop tattoo on his eye and the corresponding one that's on his helmet, which I'm pretty sure stands for love and peace. But things would go downhill for TUP during the Battle of Ringo Vinda. Ringo Vinda was an important industrial production center in the Mid-Rim. The planet itself was encircled by a massive space station that served as an export and import hub for the planet and entire region. The Battle of Ringo Vinda would take place on this station. The Republic forces were led by Jedi General Anakin Skywalker and twin Jedi Generals Tiplar and Tipli. Defending the station was the terrifying Admiral Trench, the Harch commander who specializes in defensive tactics and has survived several near-death experiences at the hands of the Jedi and Republic forces, and has the cybernetic prosthetics to show for it. Now, Ringo Vinda would be a tough fight for the clones. The Republic wanted to avoid damage to any crucial infrastructure on the space station, so most of the fighting was done at close quarters and with small arms. Casualties would be high and progress would be slow. Admiral Trench was an expert at utilizing bottlenecks to extract casualties from enemy forces. Clone Trooper TUP was accompanying General Tiplar and General Tipli's prong of the attack. Their goal was to take out Admiral Trench's command center and end the fighting. TUP had been experiencing headaches and other neurological discomfort for most of the day. Right when his squad was about to breach Admiral Trench's command center, TUP completely goes haywire and ends up marching right up to Jedi Commander Tiplar and sends a blaster round right into the side of her noggin. He didn't even give her a heads up. He didn't even allow her to face her own death. No cheek was given and no words reached her ear because he shot her in the ear. The death of General Tiplar immediately stalls the Republic offensive and sends a shock through the ranks. Fives tackles TUP and restrains him, and the entire unit retreats to figure out what exactly has happened. Admiral Trench caught all of this drama in a holographic recording and immediately sends it to Count Dooku, who then quickly sends this information to his own master, Darth Sidious. The Sith knew exactly what had happened in this situation. When they were creating the Grand Army of the Republic secretly behind the Jedi's back, the KAMINOANs were instructed to place inhibitor chips into the brains of all of the clone troopers. These chips were modified to basically control a clone's behavior, and it made sure that they would follow through with all of the contingency orders for the Grand Army of the Republic. These were 150 different orders that dealt with emergency situations where the military had to get involved in order to stabilize the situation. Now, in order to cover their own backs in case these chips were ever found, these orders included removing the Chancellor of the Republic from power if he was deemed unstable or unable to continue carrying out his term. But the most important of those orders was, of course, hidden in Order 66, which targeted the Jedi Order for treason. Now, Darth Sidious was sure that TUP's random attack was somehow related to the chip malfunctioning, and now they needed to do as much damage control as possible to not raise any further suspicion about that chip. TUP would be placed on a medical transport and sent back to Kamino for more tests. Along the way, droid gunships ambush the Republic convoy and manages to capture TUP on behalf of Darth Sidious and Count Dooku's orders. Anakin Skywalker, Rex, and Five decide that they're going to mount a rescue mission to recover TUP. They track him using his comm and find him inside a shuttle, which is preparing to leave for separate space. They recapture TUP and once again place him on a medical frigate for Kamino. Fives notes that something serious is wrong with TUP and that his vital signs seem to be slowly declining. He's in grave danger. So at this point, it's very clear that both sides really want access to TUP, and whatever malfunction caused them to shoot a Jedi. This is clearly a very important event in the war. Back on Kamino, clone trooper Tups and Fives are immediately quarantined. The belief is that Tup has been infected with some kind of pathogen or virus that has caused him to go insane. Meanwhile, the Kaminoans begin to run a series of extremely intrusive tests on Tup. We have to remember that the Kaminoans are an extremely ruthless aquatic species. They had experienced massive climate change, which essentially flooded their entire world. In order to survive these harsh circumstances, the Kaminoans basically had to cull a large percentage of their population. The ones who were allowed to survive supposedly had superior genetics. It's because of this tragic backstory that the Kaminoans started getting interested in the field of cloning, eugenics, and genetic alterations. The Kaminoans saw the clones they made as a product first and foremost, and not as living beings. Their entire species had an empathy problem. After the test results returned for Tup, no virus is detected, causing even more confusion. Nala Se, the Kaminoan doctor assigned to Tup, is secretly in league with Darth Tyrannus and trying to keep the inhibitor chip a secret from the clones and the Jedi. Luckily, Shaak Ti, the Jedi commander in charge of Kamino's defense and future clone production, is also on the scene. The Jedi Master wonders if this incident was caused by separatist brainwashing. She also suggests that they do an atomic brain scan on Tup's brain to look for any irregularities. Meanwhile, Nala Se, of course, wants to kill Tup and perform an autopsy. Kaminoans are the worst. Fives, who's kind of watching this all happen in the next room over, is desperate to help, so he enlists the help of a droid named AZI-3 to kind of help him figure out what exactly is happening. Fives believes that the dolphin-like Kaminoans are going to do something extremely terrible to Tup if he doesn't find some way to intervene. And so he sneaks into Tup's room and has AZI-3 perform an atomic-level brain scan. They quickly find what looks like a brain tumor inside of his head and extract it. This is the biochip or inhibitor chip we've been talking about. Nala Se and Shaak Ti walk in on their makeshift surgery right as Tup regains consciousness. He tells Fives that the nightmares are finally over and that his mission is also finally over. He then passes away in peace. Shaak Ti is alarmed by the presence of this artificial tumor implanted in Tup's head and wants to send it back to the Jedi Temple for examination, but Chancellor Palpatine suggests that it should instead be sent to the Grand Republic Medical Facility. They have state-of-the-art lab equipment there and apparently a really good burn victim unit. Nala Se, of course, backs that decision, and together they overrule Shaak Ti. At this point, Fives is in a lot of trouble. They place him under arrest and they take away AZI-3 for some reprogramming and memory wipes. Shaak Ti and Nala Se confront the clone trooper and let him know that Tup's tumor will be taken back to Coruscant for inspection. Nala Se actually blames Tup's death on Fives and even claims that his rash actions with removing the tumor have destroyed potential information that they could have used to get to the bottom of this mystery. Shaak Ti luckily has Fives back and tells Nala Se that she has no proof of this at all. Better yet, she wants the chip to return to the Jedi Temple first and not to Chancellor Palpatine. Despite Nala Se's protests, the Jedi still outranks her authority. Now, Fives is taken away for a physical. If he passes, he'll return to the 501st, but on his way to that physical, he bumps into AZI-3, who innocently reveals that the Kaminoans aren't going to let him return to active duty. They're instead going to erase his memory and turn him into a janitor. Fives might be unarmed and surrounded by clone guards, but he's an ARC trooper, and they're extremely difficult to stop if they put their minds to something. In this case, Fives wants to escape, and so he brings AZI-3 along with him, and they're going to get to the bottom of this conspiracy one way or another. Fives finds out that Nala Se has switched a tumor that was destined to go to the Jedi Temple. He's now confirmed that the Kaminoans are clearly trying to hide something. Fives decides to create a diversion away from the cloning facility so that he can sneak right back in and investigate what exactly happened to Tup. While accessing the archives in the cloning center, it's revealed that every clone trooper is given one of these chips at an extremely early stage of their development. Fives decides to remove his own chip next with the help of AZI-3. They confirm that he does indeed have a similar tumor-like device in his brain, but unlike Tup's, it wasn't degraded. Now, Fives runs into Nala Se and demands an explanation for why all these chips are implanted into the clone troopers' heads. She lies and says that they are designed to inhibit the more violent tendencies of Jango Fett's genetics. Such alterations were actually done to make the clones a little more loyal and better at following instructions, but this was done at the genetic level, and it wasn't done through some kind of tumor implant. Nala Se further tries to convince Fives that Master Cyberdius was the one responsible for these chips. Shaak Ti and a group of clone troopers burst in on their conversation and demand that Fives put down his blaster. Fives attempts to explain what he has just discovered about these inhibitor chips and suggests that all of these chips need to be removed or else more clones will suffer incidents like TUPs. Nalase, on the other hand, tries to convince Shaak Ti to kill Fives after he reveals that he's removed his chip. The Kaminoan claims that now that he's done this, he's a danger to everyone around him. Now, Shaak Ti tries to de-escalate the situation and decides to bring Fives and his tumor directly to Coruscant to meet Chancellor Palpatine. Unfortunately for Fives, that treacherous Dolphinkin comes along for the journey to Coruscant as well, and while Fives is strapped down to a gurney, Nalase injects him with some kind of mind-altering drug which makes him all confused and erratic. And so Fives is not exactly in the right state of mind when he arrives to Chancellor Palpatine's office. Fives tries to explain to the Chancellor that he believes that these chips are not designed to inhibit violence but make clone troopers more aggressive. He believes that the Separatists might be behind this plot. Palpatine asks for a moment alone with Fives and has Jedi Master Shaak Ti and Nalase vacate the room. The Chancellor then reveals the truth, that he is the one behind the chips and goads Fives into attacking him. Shaak Ti intervenes just in time to stop Fives from killing Palpatine. She then tries to chase him down, but the clone is long gone and disappears into the underworld of Coruscant. The one advantage of being a clone trooper is that you look like every other clone trooper that happens to be on shore leave. Fives heads to a popular bar called 79's, which is frequented by other clone troopers, and he runs into one of his old buddies from the 501st in the bathroom. He asks that Kix set up a meeting between him and Anakin Skywalker and Captain Rex. He must warn them about what he's found about the inhibitor chips and Order 66. Anakin and Rex, who are already tasked with hunting down Fives, agrees to meet him in a sketchy abandoned area of the Undercity. When they arrive, Fives traps them in a ray shield and forces them to listen to him. Fives tries to explain the plot against the Jedi, but he's exhibiting very strong side effects from the drug that Nalase injected him with earlier during the ride to Coruscant. Before he's able to convince Anakin and Rex, a shock trooper patrol interrupts them and guns Fives down. Fives would die in Rex's arm, and it's a really powerful moment that would one day save Captain Rex from making a terrible mistake. Later on, Palpatine meets with the Jedi Council and tells them that a parasite native to Ringo Vinda was indeed responsible for the malfunctioning of Fives and TUP's inhibitor chips. Palpatine further assures the Jedi that they have developed an inoculation for all of the clone troopers, putting a convenient end to the matter. This is an especially heartbreaking episode, especially for fans of the Jedi Order, because Fives was this close to revealing the Order 66 plan, which probably would have led to the arrest of Palpatine, and it probably would have saved the Jedi Order. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of this series. As usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.